What's up everybody, D-Man back. Welcome to a brand new video, and today we're going to be doing something a little different. Today we will be doing another MonsterVerse news and updates, but this one is a special news report about Monarch G-Team. Yeah, I'm dressed semi-nicely. It's business casual. I've got an interview today. Yeah, I'm going to, so hopefully wish me luck is what I'm saying. Okay, Monarch G-Team. Many of you may not have even heard of this. Monarch G-Team. The MonsterVerse anime we have all been begging for years now is finally here. The only thing is we have to fight for it. The fighting is going to be awfully difficult right now because the writer's strikes are currently happening, and so no negotiations can take place. But if we make a loud enough uproar when the writer's strikes lift, we could be in good business. Okay, so where does this all start? Let's go back pretty far really quick. Back in 1998, TriStar's Godzilla movie released, and it was so critically panned that they did not follow up the movie with their planned trilogy. Instead, they opted to make a cartoon. This show followed Heat with Nick Totopoulos and his companion Godzilla as they traveled the globe and fought monsters in different areas. This show was widely popular. It aired from 1998 all the way through 2000, and it has a lasting impact. In fact, I want to mention really quickly, Lost Utopia Films created this insane Godzilla The Series cinematic. This is a 3D cinematic he created, and it's wonderful. It captures the spirit and replicates shots from the original Godzilla 1998 animated intro, and it's just really great. So the show has this thriving, dedicated fan base that still exists to this day, and that has bled into the MonsterVerse. When Godzilla King of the Monsters came out, Monarch was blown up into a massive international organization that was now in the public eye with enormous technology and the ability to contain titans and the ability to combat titans, and it was everything we wanted. In fact, it was so exciting for many fans that some people even took to creating fan art, and I don't actually know where this fan art comes from, but some people took to creating fan art of Monarch as the 1998 animated Godzilla series. This is wonderful fan art. It's honestly super iconic within the fan base. And in Godzilla King of the Monsters, we are introduced to G-Team, which is the MonsterVerse's version of G-Force. It's a dedicated special military task force dedicated to fighting and combating the titans. G-Team. They're a bunch of crazy loons who happen to be on our side. And all of this swirled around the heads of two men who we will talk about in this video. Two men who were enormous fans of Godzilla and the genre, and got involved a third person who was another enormous fan. That third person, I'll mention first, was not the Kaiju, I believe that's their name. This is G-Team's concept artist, and I just wanted to show off this fan art they did of Godzilla x Dead Space x Kojima Productions 2015. I don't even know what I'm really looking at here, because I'm not familiar with all the things that are crossing over, but it's like this epic Shin Godzilla decorated in these gold crowns fighting another Shin Godzilla looking morphed up creature up top. It's awesome. This is so freaking cool. I don't even know what it is, and I think it's awesome. So who are the other two men then? Well, about 1 year ago on November 3rd, 2022, to celebrate Godzilla's 68th anniversary, O'Shea Jackson Jr., who plays Barnes in Godzilla King of the Monsters, took to Twitter to reveal Monarch G-Team. His original tweet states, "In honor of Godzilla Day, I think it's only right that I drop my passion project. Wrote this with my filmmaker friend over at Toho Kingdom's Chris Mirjahangir. Monarch G-Team takes elements from Godzilla King of the Monsters and goes its own way. Let them know the people want it." That's right, this is an anime that has been worked on by Chris Mirjahangir of Toho Kingdom, who was involved with Godzilla Total Destruction, for those of you who remember that incredible fan animation that unfortunately has never fully seen the light of day, but we've seen clips of it, and it is wonderful. It's a wonderful animation. It's got so many incredibly inventive and exciting ideas within it. It is incredibly animated, it looks beautiful, and it shows that Godzilla is in good hands with these two. And then O'Shea Jackson Jr., who's probably one of the biggest Godzilla fans to have ever worked on a Godzilla movie. He is a lifelong Godzilla and anime fan, and he just so happens to have found his way into one of these films, and now the two of them are working together to create Monarch G-Team, a spin-off of the MonsterVerse. This was also announced on Toho Kingdom, so if you want to check that out, you can down below. O'Shea confirmed that fan support will get Legendary's attention, which is what they're needing in order to get this project off the ground. So they have the pitch, they've got it all organized, they just need to prove to Legendary that there is a fan demand for this show, so that's where we all come in, and we gotta do our part in making noise about this thing. And when this dropped, quite a few people did take to making noise about this. Comic Book Movies reported on G-Team, the Kaijuologist reported on it, We've Got This Covered reported on it, Godzilla Movies reported on it, Kaiju Ramen Magazine wrote about it, and it blew up right away. So what is Monarch G-Team? Well, I'll cover the series details for you here really quickly, and we'll see what you think, because I think it sounds incredible. Created by O'Shea Jackson Jr. and Chris Mirjahangir, episode 1 was written by Chris Mirjahangir. We have a picture of the script here. Concept art was done by John Sumagase. It is a 2D animated show. I like the new Monarch logo here, featuring a more MonsterVerse styled M Monarch symbol in the logo. That's pretty sick. This is O'Shea Jackson Jr.'s passion project that he has been working on since Godzilla King of the Monsters. It takes elements from Godzilla King of the Monsters and goes its own way with it, with the goal of being able to pay homage to the things that made them fans in the first place. They have planned 3 seasons with an overarching narrative, but they need public support to get this thing taken seriously and to get it made. Jackson says the scripts are all ready for any distributor who wants them. The series is currently being developed without Legendary involved, with the hopes that Legendary will pick it up and run with it. The series follows Chief Warrant Officer Jackson Barnes as he and a new set of G-Team members go up against a series of new titans that are being uncovered. Most of these are our Toho boys. Way back in 2019, this was the explanation Jackson Jr. gave about G-Team. He says, there's certain divisions of the military, and then there's G-Team. There's the cream of the crop, and then there's the crazy cream of the crop that make it to G-Team. You've got to get up on a different side of the bed to hunt monsters willingly. Yeah, if I haven't seen my family in years, I know the requirements to become G-Team. But to be a high-ranking officer on G-Team warrants a little crazy. This series will expand upon all of that. This series follows G-Team as they venture off into new areas of Titan activity. The decision was made to go with animation because, first of all, it's cheaper, and because they wanted to prove the potential for giant monsters, specifically Godzilla, in the anime format. They believe that Godzilla in the anime format has barely been scratched, and there is so much more you can do with any of our favorite kaiju in this genre. This show has been in development for 6 years now. That is all absolutely wonderful to hear, and in my opinion, this show should work as a spin-off. I did not like that the Skull Island anime was directly connected and canon to the MonsterVerse. I think the MonsterVerse needs to be willing to expand its brand and do spin-offs, and this sounds like the perfect opportunity to do a MonsterVerse spin-off. While not necessarily technically canon, it takes events from canon and goes its own way with it, kind of the way that Marvel's What If did. I think that this could work perfectly for that, because now we could bring all of our favorite Toho monsters in and still have the potential to use those guys in live action down the line if we wanted. I think this is such a wonderful idea. I am so into this. I really hope that Legendary picks this thing up and it goes somewhere. I really hope it would stick with that 2D animation style because it's so beautiful. I'm really excited about this thing, and I'm not the only one. O'Shea Jackson Jr. is so excited about it, and his passion for this makes me passionate for it too. O'Shea Jackson Jr. wore a G-Team shirt on the Today Show while promoting Cocaine Bear. I have that Today Show interview linked down below. You can go check it out. It's a lot of fun. First of all, it's a fun movie. He's great in that movie, and second of all, it's just fun to see him wearing the shirt, and he likes to rep it. He likes to do one of these a lot. He really wants to flaunt it. And then he also wore the G-Team shirt on the Late Late Show with James Corden, so he wore it twice, and it's awesome. He wore 2 different shirts. Send me a shirt. I will wear that thing all the time. O'Shea Jackson Jr. or Chris Mirjahangir, if you're watching, send me a shirt and I'll rep that thing all the time. I think a lot of us want in on this. A lot of us want this thing to take off. We're all excited about it. Everyone I have seen online is so excited about the idea of this show. We all are rooting for it. O'Shea has also given this show multiple shout outs. He went on DraftKings and mentioned the G-Team anime. I've got that link down below as well. And he also shouted it out on Antscape. You can go check that interview out down below as well. He's also just shown his continued passion for both Godzilla and this project across many of his tweets, but one in particular stuck out to me, and that was this Gigan tweet that he made this little joke about, where it was like one of Toho Kingdom's iconic caption times, and it's a picture of Gigan on the behind the scenes of Godzilla vs. Gigan, and O'Shea captioned it, well, if it isn't Barnes and his toy soldiers, hashtag G-Team. That is hype, man. Now you might be like, Gigan? What are you talking about, Gigan? Why would Gigan know Barnes? Well, we'll talk about that when we get to the concept art for this show. I've got also the tweets linked down below so you can check out where he clarifies why they went with the anime format, and he talks about how he wants to prove what you can do with the anime format. I've also got a link down below where he talks about the 5 to 6 year developmental process of this series. They also posted an audio teaser for this show. It's just a black screen, and then it eventually goes to the logo, and you've got an audio teaser. Actually, this audio was retooled from Chris Mirjahangir's previous Godzilla MonsterVerse fan project, that being The Aftermath, which I've talked about many times. But it shows that maybe they're going to be developing some of those same ideas with maybe some evil organizations lurking within the MonsterVerse. Just cool stuff like that. Which, if I'm remembering correctly, that one said that they've got like maybe Anguirus and Baragon in containment. Am I remembering that correctly? I haven't watched that in a couple months, but I believe they say they've got Anguirus and Baragon in containment, which makes sense because it seems like they're bringing in any and every Toho kaiju we could possibly imagine into this show. If they get it approved, of course, which it would be expensive. I get that, but it's good to shoot high sometimes, and that's what they're doing here. They're taking risks and they're just shooting for it right now. But okay. Let's get get into the actual concept art because we have some wonderful concept art so far. The very first concept art they revealed is this incredible one. It is a massive cave system full of what appears to be worshippers. There's enormous cliff faces in it and what appears to be an overgrown, worshipped Biollante. This thing is so freaking cool, man. I love the Biollante redesign. I love the glowing red. I love all the worshippers. That's such a cool idea. That's so horrifying. Biollante living under the earth in a place nobody knows about, but all these worshippers are there willing to defend this thing with their lives. Presumably Biollante is going to be a bad guy. So freaking cool, man. That would be... I would love that. That would be great. That's not the only stuff they revealed, because they showed an incredible naturalistic Gigan redesign. This is actually, if this was to become real, this would almost instantly become maybe my favorite Gigan design. I particularly like this one. I really like the Showa design. I'm a big Showa guy, and this takes the Showa design and runs with it, where it turns the green parts of his body into what appears to be skin. It shows like this skin is overtaking the rest of his body. Makes him very naturalistic because Gigan is normally kind of like a cyborg. This one has a very different interpretation of Gigan. He's got a very Muto-esque eye. His beak now does not resemble metal. It looks like bone, which I think is such a good idea. Oh, that's great. His back wings are looking great with the green overtaking them, and I believe, if I'm looking correctly here, he's got giant bone hooks and he's got bone shards sticking out of his chest where his buzzsaw normally is. Now, this creates the potential for, if this was to show up in the show, and this would be great, a naturalistic Gigan, a creature that just looks like this. This is what Gigan looks like. Maybe he gets absolutely obliterated by Godzilla. Maybe the bad guys unleash him. He just gets obliterated, and the bad guys, their only hope of action to revive Gigan is to create the cyborg Gigan with the buzzsaw and the metal hook hands that we all know and love. That would be great. That would be better than what they did in Godzilla Final Wars, which I've never been the biggest fan of. That'd be so good. And it would justify how to get Gigan in the MonsterVerse in a way that I've always thought Gigan does not fit in the MonsterVerse. I've always said if you're going to do it, you'd have to radically redesign and change what the character is, and they've found a way to only semi-alter what the character is, but preserve the integrity of Gigan in a way that still serves the MonsterVerse. It's genius. I love it. And then this is the greatest thing ever, man. They gave us Sonda and Gaira fighting into a volcano as Mazers attack them. I love the stylish lighting here. It looks beautiful. I love the volcano and the Mazers as a reference to the original film. You've also got Barnes on the left in this frame. I just wish they would have released a higher resolution image of it, because this is a really low res image, but it gives us proper Mazers in the MonsterVerse, which were alluded to in Godzilla King of the Monsters, and Sonda and Gaira, two of the most underrated and unappreciated kaiju. Now, I know in the kaiju community they're very well known and loved, but these guys deserve more love from Toho. When I say they're underrated, I say Toho doesn't treat them right, because they should be back by now. They shouldn't have only had one proper appearance and then one comic book appearance. They should have been back by now. These guys are incredible. I love this art. I love the premise of them showing up in the MonsterVerse. Does this spoil their fate in the G-Team anime? Maybe a little bit, but it's great stuff, man. I just love the idea that they're back because they are such wonderful characters. They fit in the MonsterVerse aesthetic so perfectly already. I love it. I'd be so hype if they show up. And then we also see G-Team investigating an aliens-styled cave with these bodies and carcasses all over the place and open eggs laying around. It's freaky and terrifying. And we also see what might be a tunnel entrance behind them, or maybe is that supposed to be like a Godzilla 1998 styled reference with an eye looking in on them? I can't totally tell what that thing in the background is, but this wonderful cave of corpses is really grotesque and horrifying. I actually don't know what kaiju could have done that unless they've created new kaiju for the show, which they definitely could have. My brain wants to tell me that's like could be Destroya because he's small enough and also connected to aliens already based on the way he was portrayed in that original film, so maybe Destroya? I'm not sure. The larva. I don't know, but I love it. I love the idea of it. It's very scary. It also brings the horror back to the underground of the earth, brings the horror back to the Hollow Earth, which the MonsterVerse has completely forgotten about. When they've created the fantasy Hollow Earth of Godzilla vs. Kong, they did away with the terrifying nature of it in the first place, which I really miss. Finally, here we have the reveal of some storyboards for the G-Team anime. Now, these storyboards were revealed by Mirjahangir, and they also give us some implications on what the story is going to be about. Here we learn that following the events of Godzilla King of the Monsters, Barnes is suffering from PTSD, and in one sequence has an intense flashback to the Battle of DC, following an intense disengagement. If you look at the storyboards here, the scene depicts Barnes and a series of new G-Team soldiers exploring a cave. The flashback triggers and Barnes drops to the floor. His comrades try to help him, and everything around him seems to fade away until he sees part of a corpse on the ground. This eventually draws his eyes down the cave into where the light is leading. Now this could link up to the concept art of the Cave of Corpses we saw earlier. Maybe this is right before they get attacked by some creatures, I don't know. That's great. First of all, I love the character development here. I know that O'Shea has emphasized the fact that they are putting an emphasis on the humans' emotions, the way they feel and respond to these situations, which is what I love to hear. I think giving Barnes PTSD is a very interesting angle to go with. I like it because O'Shea is the one pushing this, and a lot of the time when you have actors, they want their characters to be very macho and they wouldn't necessarily want them to struggle with PTSD. So I like that O'Shea is giving this character very human elements that is going to ground him and make him very relatable for us, and is going to hopefully help him carry the show for us. He is now the lead of this series. We later jump to storyboards showing what I think is his full flashback. Now these might be two different scenes, one showing his PTSD, the other showing the flashback that was mentioned, but in these storyboards, it's revealed here, we see the claws of Rodan smashing down on a building, sending rubble cascading downwards onto fleeing crowds of people who are splattered by it. Very GMK, showing the actual direct impact of these kaiju attacks. Now, if you immediately look at that, you could think that this is part of Rodan's attack on Isla de Mara, but as they mentioned, this is Barnes having flashbacks to the Battle of DC, the battle that definitely cost the most lives in the MonsterVerse so far, and was definitively the most unwinnable fight anybody in the MonsterVerse has gone up against. Ghidorah and Rodan teaming up to create enormous floods, hurricanes, and tornadoes all at once. There was no winning that one, had Madison not activated the Orca. I love it. We did not get to see enough of that fight, so I love that we're returning to it. I wonder if they'll get some of the other G-Team actors back for those flashback sequences. I really hope they do if they get to make this show. But alright, that's gonna do it for this one, guys. I'm gonna end it here because that's all the information we have about G-Team. We just gotta keep pushing for it and hoping that once these writer strikes clear up, they can actually pitch this show and get it made. But in order to do our part, we gotta show support. We gotta hashtag G-Team on Twitter. We gotta post about it on Instagram. We gotta make YouTube videos about it. We gotta show our support for it because otherwise, the Godzilla anime we have been begging for and dreaming of will not come to pass. Kind of in a way, the ball's in our court now, and we gotta play it. To O'Shea Jackson Jr. or Chris Mirjahangir, if you're watching, you guys should come on the channel. O'Shea, come on the channel. You and I, we can do a live stream together where we can talk Godzilla, we can talk anime, we can talk G-Team, we can promote the thing, we could get all into it. That would be incredible. We could talk Godzilla King of the Monsters, what it was like to make that movie. That would be so much fun. Come on the channel, we'll do a live stream. It'll be great. All right, I want to give a huge thank you to all my patrons over on Patreon. Thank you all very much for the support you give me on the Patreon. I really appreciate it, and it truly goes a super long way towards supporting this channel and making sure I can keep making videos like this for you guys. Thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I will see you guys next time for the next one. D-Man out.